For just $702, or an S10 pickup for just $73.95. The giant year-end clearance is on now, but it ends December 31st, so hurry to your Chevy First Team dealer.
In Panama, stalled talks, account of the dead, and more of the music barrage. Tightened bomb security in the south. And the Northeast starts paying for hard winter. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. The Vatican wants Manuel Noriega out of its embassy in Panama. After playing reluctant host for 5 days, the papal nuncio urged the ousted dictator today to leave voluntarily. Negotiations designed to force Noriega out are proceeding in what a spokesman for President Bush calls a, quote, positive vein. In Panama today, officials were working hard to account for American civilians killed during the U.S. invasion last week. Our coverage begins with Doug Donnell in Panama City.
At an unmarked common grave today, Panamanian authorities were searching for the body of one American civilian who they believe was killed in an execution-style murder during fighting here. Panama's Attorney General told CBS News of the apparent execution of at least one American, Raymond Dragseth. He was kidnapped from his Panama City home by armed men believed loyal to Manuel Noriega. Dragseth was discovered later with bullet wounds in the back of his head. American officials are now conducting their own autopsy of Dragseth's body. Another U.S. civilian, Dragseth's cousin, Richard Paul, was also killed during fighting here. U.S. military officials today confirmed that Paul was killed by American troops in an incident at a U.S. roadblock. At another grave site today, a group of American GIs exhumed the remains of Panamanians who were buried in haste during the heat of combat. Officials said the remains would now be identified and buried. The grisly discoveries underscored the human cost of an operation aimed in large part at capturing one man who's still just beyond the U.S. military's reach. Manuel Noriega's hosts at the Vatican embassy here said for the first time today they have asked Noriega to leave the compound voluntarily.
An occupying power cannot interfere with the work of a diplomatic mission, nor demand that a person seeking asylum in that mission be handed over to it.
There is an American crisis management team here in Panama handling contacts with the Vatican's representatives, but by all indications, the talks are right where they stood days ago. The Vatican reiterated that legally it can only turn Noriega over to the Panamanian government. Panama's new president said again today he has written the Pope to ask that Noriega be turned over, but the Vatican says it has yet to receive the letter. In the meantime, Manuel Noriega is still inside the embassy gates, and U.S. troops are just over the wall. Doug Donnell, CBS News, Panama.
A spokesman for the Pope referred to the United States today as a, quote, occupying power in Panama, and he criticized the tactics of U.S. troops surrounding the Vatican embassy, including blasting the building with rock around the clock. Our Pentagon correspondent David Martin says the Bush administration is trying to downplay and smooth out some of the differences with the Holy See. David?
Dan, the administration is clearly bending over backward not to antagonize the Vatican more than it already has with the rock music and the demands to turn Noriega over. The word has gone out to the troops in Panama to turn down, if not turn off the music altogether. And the White House said today, quote, "We think the Vatican is doing a fine job." As for what's going on behind the scenes, the only thing I'm sure of is that the U.S. has presented a legal brief to the Vatican explaining why Noriega should be denied asylum and why he should be turned over to the U.S. But I am unable to find any U.S. official who is willing to predict either publicly or privately that the U.S. will eventually get their hands on Noriega. The Vatican is very sensitive about being strong-armed by the U.S. and is insisting on observing all the legal and diplomatic niceties, which is why it's taking so long.
David, what are the chances that there is a deal and that we're now just simply in the period of working out details?
Well, I do know that on the day after the invasion, the papal nuncio was flown into Panama aboard a U.S. military plane, and on that plane were 9 federal marshals. Now, you can take that fact, which is confirmed by the Pentagon, and construct an elaborate conspiracy theory that says this whole battle over who gets Noriega is already a done deal and has been from the start. But everybody I talk to about this insists that the papal nuncio was simply caught out of Panama by the invasion, and the U.S. was doing nothing more than helping a diplomat get back to his post.
David Martin at the Pentagon, thanks. By the way, about the rock music, today, during the day, White House spokesman said orders had been given for the rock music to stop. Late in the afternoon, the Pentagon said orders had been given for the rock music to stop. At our last report just a few moments ago, it was still blasting in to the Vatican Embassy. At the United Nations today, the General Assembly adopted a resolution deploring the U.S. invasion of Panama as a, quote, flagrant violation of international law. The vote 75-20 with 40 abstentions. FBI agents tried again today to identify and find whoever wrote a letter taking responsibility for the spate of parcel bombings in the South and threatening more violence to come. CBS News reporter Aaron Hayes has the latest.
Security was tight today at an Atlanta television station. A hate group had sent a letter to the station's anchorwoman threatening violence if she didn't read it on the air.
It arrived here at Eyewitness News last night.
In it, the so-called Americans for a Competent Federal Judicial System claim responsibility for mail bombs sent throughout the South over the holidays. 2 were safely intercepted by federal authorities, but 2 reached their targets. The FBI believes the letter is genuine, but
we know nothing about the organization. We don't know if it existed prior to the writing of the letters. We just don't know anything about it.
They do have one clue found earlier on mail bomb wrappings, a code, the same code now found in this most recent letter and on other threatening letters sent to federal judges in the last 2 weeks. The new letter calls the bombings retaliation against federal judges in the South for failing to, quote, stress the importance of blacks to demonstrate civil responsibility. It points to the rape and murder of a white Atlanta woman, Julie Love, last year. 2 black men are in jail charged with her killing. The letter also denounces, quote, black demands for white teachers for their children, a reference to a Georgia desegregation case, a case bomb victim Judge Robert Vance helped decide. The other victim, Georgia Attorney Robert Robinson, was also involved in a desegregation case. The letter goes on to say more people will be assassinated, specifically NAACP members. They are worried.
Apprehensive, concerned. You'd have to be crazy not to be.
Security is now tighter than ever around federal courts and the NAACP. The letter's final threat: to kill 1 federal judge, 1 attorney, and 1 NAACP member for every white woman raped by a black man in Florida, Georgia, or Alabama. A threat authorities say that might sound ridiculous if it weren't already backed up by 2 murders and 4 bombs. Aaron Hayes, CBS News, Atlanta.
Still to come on the CBS Evening News, more news of this last work day of the year. And from Bob Schieffer, a last look at the decade ending. The 80s remembered.
This is unbelievable. I can't believe it.
These Publishers Clearinghouse winners couldn't believe they won until they cashed their checks. Now you can win $10 million if you enter our new sweepstakes fast.
An old man like me might be able to retire one of these days.
Why do we enjoy Alpine Lace low cholesterol and lower in sodium cheeses?
Because they're so delicious.
And we take care of ourselves.
Take care of yourself. Delicious Alpine Lace, low cholesterol, and lower in sodium cheeses.
Some people think only foreign companies build quality cars. Now, according to an independent survey, an American car company offers you a choice of some of the most trouble-free cars you can own. That American car company is Buick. And the 1990 versions of those American cars are Buick LeSabre, Buick Riviera, and Buick Electra Park Avenue. We believe there's a new symbol for quality on the great American road.
It's easy to get lost in a storm. You may have been lost in this one. Your medical records, your bank statements. Vital information gone in a flash because it wasn't protected. So 3M invented data cartridge technology, a unique data backup system that protects your information. Because for someone to help you, they have to be able to find you. 3M, innovation working for you.
Police in Hong Kong got into a fierce battle today with Vietnamese refugees. The police, firing tear gas, stormed a detention center after stone-throwing Vietnamese tried to resist a search for homemade weapons. 40 injuries, 27 arrests are reported. Hundreds of weapons reportedly were seized. The clash came as Hong Kong officials were promising to send another group of the so-called boat people back to communist Vietnam. A break from communism at the top today in Czechoslovakia. Act 1, Scene 1 for the playwright and reformer sworn in as the country's new president. Czechoslovakia's first non-communist president since 1948. Correspondent Peter Van Sant is there.
In a communist world turned upside down, the protester is now president. Václav Havel, a dissident playwright who could not have written a more implausible script, became president of Czechoslovakia today, capping off one of the fastest moving and peaceful revolutions of this century. I promise that I shall not disappoint you, Havel told his countrymen, and I shall bring free elections to this country. Long live Havel, they chanted. Long live the president.
The people, they are so happy that they are free.
Yes, it is a very great day, and I hope that the second great day will be the day of free elections.
Havel's election was unthinkable just 2 months ago when the communists ruled this country with a repressive iron fist. Today, the communists are in disarray and the dissidents are running the government. A sign of these remarkable times, the country's communist prime minister nominating Havel for president and praising him as a man of high moral standards. It was only months ago the communists jailed Havel, calling him a dangerous dissident. Outside, there was a military salute, an uncomfortable moment for a man who had proven that the pen is mightier than the sword. Havel then became the first president of Czechoslovakia in 40 years to go to church. Tonight, Czechoslovakia is celebrating its political renaissance on the same streets where Soviet tanks once rolled and police beat demonstrators. It is a dance of democracy, a victory of ideas over fear. Peter Van Sant, CBS News, Prague.
Romania's new governing coalition said today it is now bringing some members of the executed leader Ceausescu's secret police to justice of a kind. Secret trials for the secret police. Remnants of Ceausescu's police have been trying to keep up the chaos and killing with hit-and-run tactics. Bob Simon is among them.
The army declared it was in complete control of Bucharest today and began pulling its tanks out of the snowbound Palace Square. The provisional government came out of hiding long enough to hold a news conference and claimed that several thousand of Ceausescu's secret police have given themselves up, but that a few hundred are still on the loose, determined to destabilize the situation. Diplomatic sources confirm that the battle may not be over. The Hungarians, after monitoring secret police communications, believe they remain a coherent force. Soldiers combing through the shell of a police installation today came upon a chemical warfare lab complete with gas canisters and attaché cases which seem to have come straight out of James Bond. The most outrageous fantasies people had about the Ceausescu regime were turning out to be true. The army buried a hero and a martyr today, Defense Minister Vasily Milea, the man whose refusal last Friday to open fire on demonstrators cost him his life. Diplomatic sources believe he was shot by one of Ceausescu's closest aides. Ceausescu never trusted the army because it is an army of the people, and he did not trust the people. He kept it poorly trained, poorly equipped. During basic training, soldiers were allowed to fire 3 rounds. Ceausescu used the army as a labor force. Soldiers built roads, picked potatoes, dug canals. He prevented the officer corps from developing any real expertise. What they developed instead was resentment at their systematic humiliation.
As a result of the support which the army gave to the revolution in Romania, its esteem with the general populace has gone up enormously.
On the balcony from which the late leader of Romania addressed the masses, there was a changing of the guard today and a changing mood. In a vote of confidence for the military, the provisional government promoted all majors to the rank of colonel, and all colonels became generals. Bob Simon, CBS News, Bucharest.
In Poland, another big step away from communist economic dogma, the parliament approved 11 bills moving Poland toward a free market economy. Within hours, there was word today of a gesture of economic help from the West, temporary loans for Poland of up to $500 million, about $200 million of it from the United States.
What's in a name? The Kemper name means the security of solid insurance protection.
for your life, home, business, and auto, even reinsurance protection. But Kemper's more than insurance. It's Kemper Financial products, like mutual funds, annuities, and money market funds, working to bring you better tomorrows, insurance and investments. Ask for them by name. Kemper.
If you always wanted December to be a little hotter, it's happening. GM divisions are heating up. Each dealer is out to make December hotter than ever, with deals like 90 days deferred payments. Buy a new GM car or truck and don't make your first payment for 90 days. Yes, it's GM's hot December, but hurry, there's not much time left to come feel the heat. Don't be left out in the cold.
In New York City today, an explosion and gas fire at a utility plant killed one person, injured 7, blacked out electricity for about 130,000 customers, and disrupted subway, bus, and train service. A witness to the blaze at the Consolidated Edison plant in the Bronx, New York, said the heat was so intense you couldn't get within 2 blocks. Cause of the blast not immediately known. Bitter cold, symbolic of the record chills of this December, hit the New England states today. 0 in Vermont, below 0 in Maine. And this year, throughout the Northeast, Richard Roth reports the numbers on the home heating bill are as critical as the numbers on the thermometer.
When the oil truck pulled up to this home outside Boston today, it was a relief and a worry. It's much too cold this December to be without heat, but heating oil's suddenly gotten much too expensive for Loretta Howard. She had to borrow money to pay the bill.
There's a big $50 difference, I'd say, compared to what I paid in November to now. That's a month ago. That's a big jump.
In Massachusetts, it's a jump of 72% over last year's price for home heating oil, according to state officials. Throughout the Northeast, oil prices are soaring, consumers are complaining, and government officials are saying Washington ought to make a federal case of it.
I'm here to make your delivery today. I wanted to make you aware that the price has gone up considerably.
Retailers of home heating oil say they're just passing along price hikes from refiners, who blame this winter's bitter cold for pushing demand way beyond expectations. The oil industry says it's not profiteering, it's basic free enterprise.
Demand has gone up perhaps by as much as 35 or 40% in the last 5-6 weeks. As the demand goes up, the price goes up of any commodity.
Governors from New York and at least 3 other Northeast states, though, are questioning the size and speed of the price increases, asking whether there's evidence of price gouging or oil company collusion. In Washington, the Justice Department said it would look into the governor's complaints. In upstate New York, that won't help John Bedell, who paid his oil bill this week.
You don't really have a choice. You pay it and suffer. But it's a lot better than being cold, I can say that.
And more cold weather is precisely what forecasters say is in store for the Northeast. Richard Roth, CBS News, New York.
The Commerce Department today said its main gauge of future economic activity inched up 0.1% last month. Analysts say that tiny rise in the index of leading indicators represents one more sign that the economy perhaps will slow down in the next new year, but not fall into an outright recession. The National Institutes of Health today scrapped proposed ethics guidelines aimed at keeping government researchers from having a financial stake in the success of their own work. The NIH said it backed off because many scientists complained the guidelines would keep their discoveries from being put to use in commercial products and wind up hurting U.S. research. Secretary of Health and Human Services Dr. Lewis Sullivan said he has ordered the NIH to come up with a new plan now to prevent conflicts of interest.
American family's biggest prize ever, $20 million, could be all yours next month. Watch TV January 26 when I announce the winning numbers for all these prizes, including the biggest prize of all, $20 million. Be sure to enter America's only sweepstakes with my picture. It could make you super rich. $20 million rich this January. Enter today.
It may be Red Lobster's most perfect meal. Petite Danish lobster tails. The sweetest ever. Plus flame-broiled shrimp. Delicious. Next, sizzling scampi. All this lobster and shrimp on one plate. Perfectly priced. Just $8.95 for a few weeks.
Red Lobster for the seafood lover in you.
And for the holidays, call for party platters to go. Ready in just 1 hour.
There are very few guarantees in medicine. But if you have arthritis pain like I do, you should know about Mediprin and the Mediprin guarantee. If 2 Mediprin don't relieve minor arthritis pain better than 2 regular aspirin, you get your money back. Strong promise, strong medicine. The medicine that concentrates the power of ibuprofen into these potent little caplets. The medicine that guarantees better relief than regular aspirin. Better arthritis pain relief. That's the Mediprin guarantee.
Well, we'll be saying goodbye to the 1980s in just 2 days, and in our final CBS Evening News look at this decade, Bob Schieffer reminds us of days that shook the world.
Remembering the 80s gives us a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to look back at a century as it enters its last decade. Historically, Century's End has brought with it dramatic change, but it's hard to imagine that the 90s could provide anything equaling the world shakeup we saw during the 1980s. To help us look back again tonight, we're calling on the students of Fiorello H. LaGuardia High School here in New York. The words and music for our reflections were composed especially for us by Graham Nash and Craig Durkee.
We can make a better world that's free. We can make a better world that's fair. We can make a better world for every boy and girl. The world has everything, everybody can share. There was silence in the streets too long. Let us join our voice with theirs, one song. There's a spirit in their eyes that no one can deny. Raise your voices, freedom's coming on strong. Raise your voices, freedom's coming on strong.
I want a kinder and gentler nation.
They have forfeited their jobs and will be terminated.
The Vietnam Veterans Memorial is now dedicated.
The area around Chernobyl is still too dangerously radioactive to enter.
The use of the vital sea lanes of the Persian Gulf will not be dictated by the Iranians.
I hope that the people of Panama will put this dark chapter of dictatorship behind them and move forward together as citizens of a democratic Panama.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
The struggle for democracy will not stop until we get what we want to get.
What do you want to get?
Democracy and liberty, of course.
them. They've got rifles on their shoulders. There are students running behind them, throwing rocks.
There was silence in the streets for too long. Let us join our voice with theirs in one song. 'Cause there's a spirit in their eyes that no one can deny. Raise your voices, freedom's coming on strong. Raise your voices, freedom's coming on strong. Raise your voices, freedom's coming on strong.
And that's part of our world tonight. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News. Bob Schieffer will be here tomorrow. Connie Chung on Sunday, 60 Minutes Sunday night. Happy New Year, everybody. And good night.
Whole grain nutrition is important, but only one of these leading cereals has it. Only Wheaties is made with 100% whole grain. Just ask Michael Jordan. Better get your whole grain.
Better eat your Wheaties.
Our Volunteer of the Year is Doris Craig.
It's terrific how Depend changes people's lives. And now there is a terrific change in Depend elastic leg undergarments. It's called AbsorbLock, a unique leakage protection system that locks in 25% more. It'll do wonders for your confidence and get you back into life. Thank you so much. Get back into life with Depend. Now with AbsorbLock protection.
How fast does Dristan nasal spray start to work?
Faster than a teenager can answer the phone.
Dristan spray pump works fast to relieve congestion, even sinus pressure. For relief...
Faster than tumbleweed in a tornado.
Dristan nasal spray. It's faster than...
A parade? A party? What's going on in Jeffersontown?
I've never been more excited about anything in my entire life.
Everyone's celebrating Ann Bishop's $1 million win from Publishers Clearinghouse.
It turned out to be my neighbor, which I dearly love. I know for sure that real people do win.
Now you can win $10 million. Watch for the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes and send it in fast. On January 26th, you could be a millionaire.
We don't have to worry about our retirement now.
No. I'm glad that somebody won this, and I'm going to send mine back.
Panthers of Pittsburgh, the Aggies of Texas A&M, the John Hancock Bowl tomorrow on CBS Sports.
This is CBS.